The United States rejects an invitation to join Russian-led peace talks on Afghanistan. Top American diplomats don't believe the talks will stop the fighting between the Taliban and Afghan forces. Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reports from the State Department. Good evening, Wyatt.
Good evening, Mark. Officials here say, as a matter of principle, any efforts towards a peace settlement should be led by the Afghans, not the Russians. But Russia says the Taliban is on board, as well are Afghanistan's neighbors. It comes as Taliban forces escalate attacks across the country. Afghan forces in and around Kabul remain on high alert. Earlier this week, the Taliban fired rockets on the palace as President Ashraf Ghani was delivering a message on the Muslim holiday, Eid. Ghani saying if the insurgents think their nation will surrender, they should think again. As Afghan soldiers crack down on the Taliban in the eastern part of the country, Ghani's government is also rejecting September 4th peace talks in Moscow. A top official says the peace process should be Afghan-led. Despite the fighting, a U.S. commander in Kabul says there is a window of opportunity for peace right now.
We've also seen a clear progression in the Taliban's public statements, from their 14 February letter to the American people to their recent Eid al-Adha message, where Amir Hibatullah acknowledged for the first time that negotiations will, quote, ensure an end to the war.
The Taliban was unfazed by the U.S. and Afghan refusal to attend the Moscow meeting. The militant group will attend. Some Afghans claim the Russians are supplying weapons to Taliban fighters via Iran, a claim American officials have not disputed. Defense Secretary James Mattis says the Taliban is likely to keep up the violence ahead of October's parliamentary elections, but he says Western-backed Afghan defenses will not break.
They have not endeared themselves, obviously, to the population of Ghazni. They use terror. The reason they use bombs is because they can't win with ballots right now.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is planning to appoint a former U.S. ambassador to Afghanistan as a special envoy to deal with the Afghan-Taliban peace process. Pompeo says the U.S. is prepared to work with both parties to reach a peace agreement and has been working with the Afghan government to try and bring an end to the 17-year war.
Correspondent Wyatt Goolsby reporting from the State Department. Thank you, Wyatt.